Cowboy, when she came, as you all probably know about autistic children with their sensory integration, issues, and he didn't like taking baths, and he didn't like tags on the back of his shirt. We all know this, and I'm speaking to a crowd that understands. But Cowboy was able to somehow push him past his uncomfortable zone and into something that was something we could never imagine. Like, she dragged him through the mud, and he was fine with it. I couldn't have done that, but he slept in his bed for the first time ever slept in his bed alone. Well, with her, and you'll see all through the book there are pictures of them sleeping together. I say arm and paw, which is true, because her paws were around him, and his whole body was around her because he was only about this high then. And without night terrors for the first time in his life. So he slept peacefully through. And she snored so loudly, but he slept. So this is a scene, another sort of first time for Wills, thanks to Cowboy. Wills used to hate our pool. At least now he tolerated it. When he was 2 or 3, he'd have a screaming fit if I tried to swim. Now that he was much older, he didn't care if Michael or I swam. He just preferred to sit on the dry tiles near the shallow end. But during Cowboy's first summer with us, everything changed. If I dove into the deep end, Cowboy would run to the exact spot where I'd been standing and fling herself into the water after me. With her front legs arched and her head slightly lifted, she usually just glided in, but there was the occasional belly flop. When I'd emerged 2 seconds later, Cowboy was already there, her face just inches from mine. "Don't you do it, Cowboy," I'd warn. But she couldn't help herself. She'd lunge at me, her front paws pushing on both my shoulders, and down I'd go. "Well, she's a real swimmer," Wills would say. "Did you see that?" "Did I see it?" I asked, climbing out. "She practically drowned me." "Not really, right, Mommy?" "Not really, honey." I was looking for my towel. Cowboy was shaking off water, not once, not twice, but an even 4 times. Wills pulled a towel up over his head and just left it there. "Well, thanks a lot, Cowboy," I said, suddenly covered in thin, blonde porcupine quills, because Cowboy was beginning to lose quite a bit of body hair for some reason. I grabbed a towel and gently wiped her face, careful not to rub off any more of her coat. Maybe she was shedding because of the heat, I wondered. I rolled her onto her back to check out the fur on her stomach when Wills, who'd been sitting with his feet tucked under his bottom, fell into the pool. In less than 3 seconds, I was pulling him up off the bottom, and even though he was only in 3 feet of water, I was terrified. Cowboy followed, and before I knew it, the 3 of us were splashing around in hairy blue waves, Wills coughing, Cowboy wheezing, and me gasping. I held Wills around the waist with his back against my chest, my heart pumping, as I hiccuped through my sobs. What if I hadn't been right there? What if he didn't know that all he had to do was stand up? "Are you okay, buddy?" I asked as calmly as I could, not wanting to scare him more than my sobbing was already doing. "I'm swimming," he told me. You sure were," I managed. Wills abruptly pushed off my thighs and was out of my arms again. Startled, I rushed to grab him. Cowboy was already there, dog paddling in circles right above him. I pulled Wills up, and this time he was mad. "Don't stop my swimming," he scolded. "You're swimming?" I asked. "Quit stopping it," he said. "Okay," I told him, hesitant about stepping back. The next thing I knew, Wills was near the towel rack, yanking my yellow goggles over his head. He splashed back into the water with Cowboy shadowing his every move. Wills was swimming. "Did you want to go into the pool?" I asked when he came up for air, "or did you fall in by accident?" His straight bangs had become a series of small upside-down triangles dripping across his forehead, and the yellow goggles magnified his already enormous blue eyes. He looked like a cross between Swifty Lazar and Coco Chanel. "Cowboy wanted me to help her swim," he said. "Well, of course, because everything came easier when it was for Cowboy." "Well, I love it," I said. "Now we can have fun together in the pool. I'm thrilled." I could not wait for Michael to come home from work. He'd called 20 minutes earlier, so I knew he was only minutes away. Cowboy and Wills were circling the shallow end, Cowboy's legs pumping up and down as if she were in the Sherman Oaks High School marching band. Michael appeared around the corner of the garage just in time to see Wills dive underneath Cowboy's stomach and come up the other side, the goggles shielding his eyes and nose from the water. His canvas bag dropped onto the tiles. "He's swimming," I said coyly, scrunching my shoulders up around my neck as if to say, "You tell me." "I can see that," Michael said, clearing his throat. "Hey, Wills, when did you start swimming?" "Cowboy was having trouble, so I just came in," he yelled back. "You're so good," Michael said. "I'm excellent." Well, he certainly was excellent. Michael sat down beside me near the shallow end with his feet on the first step of the pool, his sneakers and the legs of his jeans soaking up the water. Wills resurfaced. "Hey, Daddy," he said playfully. "Well, hello there, Mr. Wills," Michael said. Cowboy suddenly noticed Michael and began a quick water march in his direction. I jumped up and backed away, but Michael was too slow, as she'd already reached the stairs. Climbing out to smother him in kisses, she firmly pressed a front paw into his groin, because Cowboy never missed an opportunity to step on someone's crotch if she could help it. "Daddy, look at this," Will shouted, keeping his body rigid and falling straight backwards. "That's it," Michael said. "I'm coming in." "No," Wills cried, pointing. "You have clothes on." "I don't care," Michael said. "I'm swimming with my pal." "And Cowboy," Wills pointed out. Michael slipped into the pool, his jeans and shirt practically glued to his body. I joined him, and we swam with Wills and Cowboy for almost 2 more hours. Later, in the pink light of the sunset, I watched Cowboy, now asleep on the wet tiles beside the pool, her lips blowing in and out with each snore. "You did it again, girl," I told her, running my hand along the side of her sweet face. "You're super doll." I wrapped myself in a thick towel and relaxed in a lounge chair, sleepy and content. The pool lights came on and I could see the wavy shadow of Michael and Wills cast long against the side of the pool.